Hi everyone and welcome to Physio Mentor. I'm filming this today in our clinic in our lovely massage room. It's the quietest room that I could find in our busy clinic today. And for this topic, I want to talk about how you can wow your clients every time. And it's really not that hard. I think a lot of graduates put a lot of pressure on themselves to come up with lots of innovative and new ways to try and wow a client. But really it just comes back to basics. It really does. And I'm thinking of a scenario that you'd all be aware of. We've just had Prince Harry and Meghan in Australia on a visit, and they have just been wildly popular with the public. And I think that's just because of their empathy, and they're relatable, and their body language just puts everyone at ease. And they're the simple facts really about how you can really wow your client. It doesn't have to be an amazing new thing that you do each and every time. So just to talk you through the basics if you are unaware of them, because some people have a natural inborn empathy, that's just their personality. And then others, it just needs to be built upon a little bit more. And for others, it comes with life experience. So if you need to build on it a little bit more, you're unaware of how you can be more empathetic, then here are some little tips and tricks. The first one would have to be body language. It really is the first thing your patient will pick up on when you greet them in the waiting room, when you escort them into the cubicle. And then what happens after that makes a big difference. We know that around the first 40 seconds is when a patient makes their biggest decisions about us and whether they like us or they don't like us, or whether they trust us or they don't. And body language is the first thing that they pick up on before they start that conversation with us. Now, it's the simple things. It's how you greet someone. It's how you offer them to come through into the room first instead of just following behind you. It's offering them a seat when they get into the room. And then I think the biggest one is pulling up a seat and sitting face to face in front of your client. Or depending on the type of client, it may be better to actually sit side by side with them on the bed if you're dealing with perhaps someone who's not really great with eye contact. But getting at their level and making them feel like you have the time to have this discussion and you're not rushing them and you care about what they have to say. So pulling up a chair and having these discussions will actually get you a great deal of valuable information from your client. It'll be a wow factor, and it doesn't seem like much, but when we're in a society that is fast-paced and every medical professional you deal with, it is like a production line these days, it's 5-minute medicine, to come to that health professional that will sit down and actually listen to what you have to say, acknowledge you, look at you, not on a computer screen. I think that is the biggest wow factor for our clients. The next one is put yourself in their shoes. It's very hard as a graduate sometimes to put yourself in your patient's shoes. We always want to do, evidence-based and be very clinical and be very structured with our approach to our patients and what we want to do. But there is a line where that won't get you anywhere if you're not relatable to the patient and you don't put yourself in your patient's shoes. And sometimes it's just relating to the patient, saying, look, I can totally understand where you're coming from in this situation, or I can totally understand why you feel this way. I would feel the same way too. Acknowledging that you understand where they're coming from. They will really appreciate it. Then you need to suggest an offer. And what that means is that we're long past the days of where a health professional is basically God and whatever they say goes, and that's what you did, and you were dictated to from a GP or local doctor or family doctor. Those days are gone. People want to be in the process. They want to be part of their treatment plan. They're far more knowledgeable than what they ever used to be. They've come, Googled what is potentially wrong with them, and they want to be part of the process. If you don't make them part of the process, then it's basically just your plan. And no one wants to follow your plan. They want to have that negotiation and toing and froing until you both come up with a suitable plan. And sometimes that may slow down outcomes, but that's a discussion that you have to have with your client, because there's no use doing it your way and then they don't turn up at all. The other one is ask questions. Make sure you clarify what your patient really wants. That's a really good sign of empathy. So tell me, have I got this right? Is this what you want? Is this what you're looking for? It just really paraphrases what a patient's telling you, and then they feel comfortable that you understand. Have a casual tone. There's no need to be really formal anymore. And I think most graduates come out of university and they want to show their intellect and their knowledge of what they've just learnt in the last 4 to 5 years at university, and they feel like their patient will be very impressed if they do that. But the problem with that is that our patients don't understand a word you're saying. And you need to use a casual tone so you can become that relatable person that they trust, a bit like their most trusted friend. But there is a borderline there. There is a line that you must not cross where you become too casual. That is very, very important, that you maintain professionalism, but at the same time you're not using amazing physiotherapy jargon that no one will understand. You just become not relatable at all if you're doing that. And lastly, probably the biggest one would have to be watch your triggers. So working in physiotherapy private practice, especially as a graduate, it can be overwhelming, it can be frustrating. You have your own set of triggers that can just set you off and portray to the patient a body language that just gives it away. So potentially, to give you an example, let's just say that your patients come and they've asked you the same question over and over again each time they've come, and you sort of sigh and roll your eyes and get frustrated with them. It's conveyed in your body language, and a patient can see that a mile away. They can smell a rat. So you have to control your triggers. Also, when a patient says that they haven't done their home exercise program this week, you don't roll your eyes and sigh and get huffy with them. You have to control your triggers. And it can be quite frustrating, but the way to get to a patient is not by getting frustrated at them. You need to work with them, educate them more, and throw everything at them that you possibly can. Then if they don't conform or they don't appreciate and change their lifestyle or their habits, then you make a guided decision then what you will do next and what your next steps are. But in the early stages, you really need to control your triggers. We're in an exhausting job. It's a terribly exhausting job where you have to maintain this empathy all day. But it's our job. And as a health professional, we must maintain that high level of standard, that bedside manner that people talk about, and that's empathy. So I hope that gives you a bit of an insight as to how you can build a bit more empathy and wow every single client that comes into your cubicle.